El Arte del No, a Zen reflection on sacred boundaries. The door that opens by closing. Imagine for a moment that every yes you utter is a drop of water leaving your being. At first, it seems harmless, even generous. But drop by drop, day after day, you begin to realize that your inner well is drying up. You find yourself saying yes to commitments you don't want, to requests that exhaust you, to situations that drain your vital energy. In this moment of awareness, a Zen question arises. Can no be more generous than yes? This reflection invites you to walk through a path of 8 stations, where together we will explore the sacred art of setting boundaries. It is not about becoming selfish, but about discovering that only from a full well can you offer crystal clear water to others. Join me on this journey where each chapter is a deep breath, a necessary pause to reconnect with your true nature. Are you ready to discover that saying no can be the most loving yes you give to yourself? Chapter 1. The Garden of Decisions. In Zen tradition, there is a story about a master gardener who had the most beautiful garden in the monastery. When asked what his secret was, he replied, "I know exactly which plants I must not cultivate. Your life is like that garden. Each day, seeds are placed before you. Opportunities, requests, commitments, invitations. The novice gardener believes he must plant every seed that falls into his hands, thinking this will yield the most abundant garden. But the master gardener understands a deeper truth. Beauty does not lie in quantity, but in harmony. When we don't know how to say no, our inner garden becomes a wild terrain where weeds grow and steal nutrients from the plants that truly matter. Our most valuable relationships, our dearest dreams, our inner peace, all become suffocated by the multitude of commitments we accept unconsciously. The first step toward the wisdom of no is to recognize that every yes you give is also a no to something else. When you say yes to working overtime every day, you are saying no to dinner with your family. When you say yes to every favor asked of you, you are saying no to your time for rest and renewal. The Zen question that arises is, what are you unconsciously saying no to when you say yes to everything? Chapter 2. The Balance of the Soul. Now that we have planted the seed of awareness, let us face together the first great question on this path. What do you believe is the main reason why it is so hard for us to say no? Option A. We fear disappointing others and losing their love or approval. Option B. We do not truly know our own priorities and values. If you chose option A, you have touched a profound truth of the human heart. This fear of rejection is like an ancestral ghost dwelling within us. From childhood, we learned that being good meant pleasing others, that love was earned by being useful. This conditioning creates an invisible trap. We believe that our worth as human beings depends on how much we can give to others. But here lies a Zen paradox. When we give out of fear, we are not truly giving love. We are trading our vital energy for crumbs of approval. The people who genuinely love us will respect our boundaries, because they understand that a balanced person can love more authentically. If you chose option B, you have pointed to the deepest root of the problem. As a Zen proverb says, if you don't know where you are going, any road will take you there. When we lack clarity about what we truly value, every external request seems equally important. Without an inner compass, we drift in an ocean of other people's demands. Self-knowledge is like lighting a lamp in a dark room. Suddenly, you can see which objects are treasures and which are only clutter. When you know your deepest values, saying no becomes an act of coherence, not of cruelty. Reflection for the journey. When was the last time you said yes to something and afterward felt empty inside? Chapter 3. The Mirror of Truth. At this point in our journey, a second question arises, inviting us to look more deeply within ourselves. What happens in your body when you are about to say yes to something you truly do not want to do? Option A. I feel contraction, tension, or physical discomfort. Option B, I don't feel anything in particular. My body doesn't give me clear signals. If you chose option A, congratulations on your bodily sensitivity. Your body is wiser than your analytical mind can comprehend. That tightness in your chest, that knot in your stomach, that contraction in your shoulders. These are messages from your inner wisdom saying, this is not aligned with you. In Zen practice, we learn that the body never lies. While the mind can rationalize and justify, the body responds with pure honesty to every situation. When you feel that contraction, it is your nervous system detecting an incongruence between your inner truth and what you are about to do. It is as if your soul were saying no while your mouth prepares to say yes. If you chose option B, it is likely that you have developed a protective disconnection from your body. In a world that constantly demands our energy, we sometimes learn to unplug from our sensations so we don't feel the constant exhaustion. This is understandable, but it is also like driving a car without looking at the dashboard. The good news is that this connection can be cultivated again. Begin with small pauses. Before responding to any request, take 3 deep breaths and ask your body, how does this feel? The answer is always there, waiting to be heard. Reflection for the journey. Next time someone asks something of you, before responding, place one hand on your heart and the other on your belly. What do they tell you? Chapter 4. The Guardians of Energy. As we walk along this path of self-knowledge, we arrive at a crucial crossroads. What do you think is the difference between being selfish and taking care of yourself? Option A. Selfishness seeks only personal gain without considering others. Self-care seeks balance so that one can give from abundance. Option B. There isn't much difference. Both prioritize one's own needs. If you chose option A, you have captured the essence of ancient wisdom. Imagine 2 wells. One guards its water jealously and never shares it, while the other cares for itself consciously so it can water many gardens. The first well is selfishness. The second is wise self-care. When you say no from a place of self-care, you are not rejecting the other person. You are preserving your capacity to love and serve in a sustainable way. It is like the safety message on airplanes. Put on your own oxygen mask first before helping others. You cannot give what you do not have, and you cannot love from an empty heart. Conscious self-care recognizes that we are part of an interconnected web. When you tend to your well-being, you allow your relationships to flourish more authentically, because your presence will be full and your generosity genuine. If you chose option B, your honesty deserves recognition. It is easy to confuse these concepts in a society that often glorifies personal sacrifice. But consider this. When a Zen master dedicates hours to meditation, is he being selfish, or is he cultivating his capacity to guide others toward wisdom? The difference lies in the intention and the fruit. Selfishness breeds isolation and inner emptiness. Self-care generates connection and abundance. Selfishness takes without giving. Self-care gives from fullness. Reflection for the journey. What activity fills you with so much energy that afterward you feel more capable of loving and serving others? Chapter 5. The Dance of the Boundary. As we continue our inner journey, we encounter a question that touches the very heart of human relationships. How do you think you should communicate a no so that it is loving rather than hurtful? Option A. By giving many excuses and justifications so the other person understands my reasons. Option B. By being honest, direct, and kind without needing to justify my right to say no. If you chose option A, your impulse to soften the message comes from a place of compassion, but it may be creating more confusion than clarity. When we fill our no with excessive justifications, we send a mixed message. It is as if we were saying, I can't, but I really wish I could, so maybe if circumstances were different. This approach invites the other person to negotiate, to find solutions to our excuses, or even to question the validity of our reasons. Furthermore, when we overjustify, we often end up exaggerating or inventing stories, which creates a heavy energy in the interaction. If you chose option B, you have touched the essence of Zen communication. Clear, direct, and from the heart. A loving no does not need pages of explanation. It can be something as simple as, "Thank you for thinking of me, but I won't be able to do it." Or, "This doesn't align with my current priorities, but I wish you the best." Direct honesty is a gift both to yourself and to the other person. You give them clarity instead of false hope, and you give yourself the dignity of not having to invent stories to justify your boundaries. A clear boundary is like a well-built fence. It defines where your space ends and another's begins, allowing both to relate with respect. Remember, your no does not need to be understood by others to be valid. It needs to be honored by you to be powerful. Reflection for the journey. Have you noticed that when you give too many excuses for saying no, the conversation drags on and becomes more uncomfortable? Chapter 6. The Garden of Relationships. In this penultimate moment of introspection, we arrive at a question that reveals much about the quality of our connections. What happens to the people who get upset or distance themselves when you begin to set healthy boundaries? Option A. They show that the relationship was not genuine. They were more interested in what you could give than in who you truly are. Option B. It is natural for them to feel confused because I changed the rules of the game, and I must be more patient with their process of adaptation. If you chose option A, you have identified a truth that can be painful yet liberating. Some relationships function under an invisible contract. I give you everything you ask for, and you give me your presence/approval/love. When you break this contract by setting boundaries, you reveal the transactional nature of the connection. Those who truly love you will celebrate your growth, even if at first they feel surprised. They may need time to adjust, but they will not punish you for taking care of yourself. On the other hand, those who distance themselves or become hostile when you set boundaries were more in love with your availability than with your essence. It is like pruning a garden. When you cut away the branches that drain energy without bearing fruit, you allow the healthy plants to flourish with greater vigor. The initial loss may hurt, but it creates space for more authentic relationships. If you chose option B, your compassion is admirable and contains a partial truth. It is true that when you change established relational patterns, others may need time to adapt. Loving patience during this transition is valuable. However, there is an important line between understanding and complicity. You can be patient while keeping your boundaries firm. Compassion does not require you to sacrifice your well-being so that others may feel comfortable. It is possible to love someone and still not allow them to cross your boundaries. The balance lies in keeping your heart open while keeping your boundaries clear. You can say, "I understand this is new for you, and I love you, but this boundary is important to me." Reflection for the journey. Have the people you love most in your life ever punished you for taking care of yourself, or have they celebrated your growth? Chapter 7. The Mirror of Time. As our journey approaches its culmination, it is time to look both backward and forward, like the sage who contemplates both the roots and the fruits of the tree beneath which he rests. Think of these moments we have shared, the questions we have explored together. What resonated most deeply within your being? Which of the reflections touched a string that still vibrates inside you? In Zen tradition, it is said that it is not enough to understand the path with the mind. One must walk it with the feet. Everything we have discovered about the art of saying no are seeds of wisdom, but they will only sprout if we water them with conscious practice. Perhaps you recognized that your body has been sending you signals you have ignored. Perhaps you realized you have been confusing love with infinite availability. Or maybe you discovered that some of your relationships are nourished more by your exhaustion than by your joy. These recognitions are not reasons for judgment but for celebration. As the Zen proverb says, the moment you realize you are lost is the moment you begin to find your way back home. The path toward healthy boundaries is not a destination reached once, but a daily practice of self-love and awareness. Some days will be easier than others. There will be moments when your no emerges clear and firm, and others when your boundaries waver like bamboo in the wind. All of this is part of the process. Perfection is not the goal. Awareness is. Each time you pause before automatically saying yes, each time you listen to the wisdom of your body, each time you choose your well-being without guilt, you are honoring not only your own path but also the path of all those around you. For when you learn to say no to what does not nourish you, you are saying yes to your true nature. And from that place of authenticity, every act of love you give is genuine, every help you offer is sustainable, and every presence you share is whole. Chapter 8. The door that was always open. At the end of this path of contemplation, we arrive at a beautiful paradox. Learning to say no teaches us when to say yes with our whole heart. Like the Zen master who knows exactly which plants not to cultivate in his garden, you now have the tools to recognize which commitments do not nourish your soul. And in that clarity, you will discover a freedom you may not have known you were seeking. The freedom to choose consciously. Do you remember the image of the well with which we began? A well that protects itself wisely never runs dry, and can offer fresh water to those who truly need it. Your energy, your time, your love. These are precious resources, meant to be shared from abundance, not from scarcity. The no that once seemed like a closed door now reveals itself as the door that was always open, to your true power, the power to consciously choose how you wish to live, love, and serve in this world. As you walk through your day tomorrow, carry with you this Zen question. Does this yes come from my love or from my fear? Does this commitment bring me closer to who I really am, or does it take me away? Your life is your most important work of art. Each conscious no is a brushstroke that defines the contours of your masterpiece. And each authentic yes is a vibrant color that brings your canvas to life. The art of saying no is not the art of rejection. It is the art of conscious choice. And within that awareness, you find not only your own freedom, but also your deepest capacity to love. The garden of your life awaits you. You have the tools, you have the wisdom, you have the sacred right to decide which plants deserve to grow in your fertile soil. Now go forth and cultivate the life your heart knows you deserve. May your no be as loving as your yes, and may both be born from the clarity of who you truly are.